We are ready to begin. So, everyone, let's start laying down. Come on over to your yoga mat if you're not there already. Finding some kind of reclined position. Maybe lying flat on the floor with your arms and legs outstretched in the pose known as Shavasana. Maybe you keep your knees bent and your feet standing up at the edges of your mat. Either let your knees kind of wing out to the sides if you want a little hip opening, or for more of a grounding sensation, you could have your knees coming together at the center. Constructive rest. I love that name. So go ahead and just keep adjusting until you feel about as comfortable as you think you might be able to be for now. If you'd like, maybe closing your eyes. You prefer to keep your eyes open, maybe just looking somewhere in front of you or softening your gaze. And taking a sigh or two or three, inhaling through your nose and then sighing out of your mouth. Feel free to make a little sound with it if that feels right to you. And with each of those sighs, just grating the floor a little bit more, feeling how supportive the floor is beneath you, letting that remind you that for now you just don't have to try too hard. Let the floor support you. And just kind of find a little moment here of surrender. Surrender the need to be doing anything else, but just being present right here in this moment. Surrender your need to be perfect today. And following your breath in and out, just noticing what feels natural and right. Even just a few minutes of intentional breathing can be quite a reset. So just notice anything that your body responds with over these next couple moments here of breathing and rest. Letting your face soften, let your shoulders grow a little heavier and more connected to the floor. If you notice any other areas of tension, just seeing if that can release a little bit with the touch of awareness. And for these next couple moments, if you would like to think about setting an intention or a focus today or a dedication, feel free to bring something or someone to mind. And whether or not you've decided to set an intention, let's just take 3 clearing breaths together, uplifting each other's intentions and our own. So taking a breath in through your nose and a sigh out of your mouth. 2 more like that. Returning to a steady pace of breath as you begin to bring small movements in, maybe a little wiggle of the fingers and toes. Then maybe a little bit of a circling through the wrists and the ankles. We will head into a long body stretch. So reaching those legs and arms long in opposite directions. Maybe pointing your toes and reaching through your fingers. And here we are for about one more breath or two. All right, and then we'll lower the arms down by our sides. Tuck your shoulder blades in behind your back. Let's bend both knees and stand the feet up. So we're in this kind of bottom of the bridge position. With your inhale, let's rise up to bridge, lifting those hip points up toward the sky, feeling those glutes and the thighs firing on. And with your exhale, just lowering right back down. With your inhale, we'll lift. And with your exhale, we'll lower. Now you're welcome to just continue that breathing bridge motion. If you want to get a little fancy with it, next time you inhale, not only will we lift the hip points, we'll start to lift the arms up as far as they would like to go. For some people, maybe the back of your arms can touch the floor overhead, or just stop anywhere else that feels right to you. And then, of course, with our exhale, we'll lower the arms back down by the sides. So we'll do this a couple more times. We're inhaling to lift any amount, and exhale to lower. And if you are moving your arms along with me, just kind of notice how when you lift those arms overhead, pressure kind of shifts higher and higher through your back. And as soon as you feel like you've had enough, those glutes, those thighs, they're working, they are on, go ahead and just lower everything back down. And we'll take a little windshield wiper motion here through the knees. So maybe bringing the arms out wide in a T-like shape, and then just letting those knees sway side to side, just like windshield wipers. Getting a little bit of a twist going there. Getting a little bit of a massaging pressure as well through that very low part of the back, maybe kind of the rim of the pelvis, the sacrum. I can't go a single yoga class without me mentioning the sacrum, it seems. That's just my thing. Okay, let's find happy baby. So we're gonna hug those knees in toward the chest. You can always stay here with just the knees hugging in, or maybe holding behind your thighs there. Or if you can reach, maybe grabbing onto the big toes, or the inside or outside edges of the feet. Basically, wherever you can hold on to the feet, go ahead and give that a whirl. You can stay steady here, just pulling your knees in toward the armpits, or find a little bit of movement. Maybe you sway a little bit side to side. Maybe you straighten one leg while you bend the other. Just kind of playing around here a little bit, seeing what it feels like to keep those feet in the air. Okay. Option to stay where you're at, or bring the soles of your feet together and then kind of wrapping your hands around your feet if you can, as long as you can keep your shoulders and your head on the floor, and just kind of pulling your feet in a little bit. Little hip opener here. And again, maybe finding a little bit of swaying or rocking, or just stay still. Sometimes that rocking feels a little too iffy, so not necessary if that's the case. All right, and then we'll release the feet, but we'll lift and straighten or almost straighten them up in the air. Let's keep the arms lifted here too, and just give the ankles and the wrists some movement. So circling, maybe pointing and flexing a couple times, and then wiggling all your toes and all your fingers, and then maybe kicking the legs out a little bit and shaking the arms. Okay, feet come back down to the ground. Go ahead and roll onto either side, coming through the fetal position and then up to a comfortable seat. Maybe crossing your legs, or maybe finding something to sit on so your hips can get a little higher. Take your time there. We'll just tent the fingertips off to the side, pull those shoulder blades back behind you, and just sit up nice and tall, lengthening upwards through the crown of your head. And take like a half tuck of your chin. So you're not like looking down, but you're kind of pulling the chin down just enough so the back of your neck feels like it's getting a little longer. Good, good, good. All right, maybe closing your eyes here as you just take a couple of breaths and notice if you've become too rigid. Try to find some kind of balance here where we're still lengthening upwards, but we're not straining to be there. Finding that balance here for about another breath. And then with an inhale, let's reach the arms around and up, joining the palms overhead at the top. You could look up at your hands if that feels okay. And then exhale to lower your hands down to heart center with a full tuck of your chin. Inhale, hands go high, gaze might follow. And exhale, lower those hands around and down. Let's do that a few times. Just go at your own pace here. Just remembering that inhales usually have us lifting up. Exhales usually have us lowering, hands to heart or the floor. And then reversing that. So go ahead and just take this a few times through, self-guided. And if you forget what goes where, just improvise. Maybe about one more time through if you're still going. And then we'll meet up with the hands on either side of your body. All right, let's take some side bends. We're going to flow with this, of course, too. So we'll inhale and lift both hands up to center. With your exhale, let's side bend to the right. So the right hand lowers, that left arm reaches, lifting that armpit up, kind of upward twisting even a little bit there. With your inhale, coming back up to center. We're just going to switch sides each time. So now exhale, side bending to the left hand lowering, right arm reaching. And just continue at your own pace. We inhale to lift. And we exhale to side bend in the next direction. And we'll end on the left side since we started on the right. So whenever that comes up next for you, ending on the left. And then lowering the arms down. Take your time as you finish that up. All right, moving along to hands and knees for a couple rounds of cat and cow here next. Hands will be right below the shoulders, knees below the hips. With your inhale, starting to lower your belly, lifting your gaze and your tailbone, finding cow pose. And exhaling to round your spine up toward the sky. Tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, cat pose. And we'll continue on, inhaling to look up, belly lowering, cow. And exhaling to cat, rounding up through the spine. Go ahead and continue. See if you can really kind of get your pelvis tilting a little bit here too. So really tucking the tailbone under when you're in cat pose. We really want to try to articulate or move through as much of the spine as we can. And a lot of us have areas of the back that maybe are a little less mobile. So we're just kind of becoming aware, seeing if we can loosen things a little bit as we go. All right. And then we'll take some chest circles here. So like you're hula hooping on a hula hooping plane, we're just gonna kind of lower the belly and sweep it around to the side and then up kind of through cat, like back and over over and down the other side. And just do your best, making kind of a circle-like motion, seeing if it feels nice through your shoulders or your neck, and then switching directions whenever you want. Getting a couple little back cracks in right now. And when you're done with that, take any other little movements you like, maybe a little twist or turn, and then find your way back to extended child's pose. Knees will go out wide toward the edges of your mat, starting to sink your seat toward your heels a little bit. Hands or forearms could come down to the floor, or walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then lowering your head and heart. Take a couple moments here, breathing down to the lowest parts of your lungs. It can feel like you're breathing into your belly. It's really the diaphragm working. This is diaphragmatic breathing. Letting that belly expand with the inhales. And releasing with the exhales. And option to stay right here and just continue savoring this child's pose, or if you'd like to add a little thread the needle action on, we'll walk the hands back toward the knees, open that right hand up toward the sky, and then with an exhale, threading the needle, that right hand going between that left knee and the left arm. If that right shoulder inside of the head can reach the floor, resting there, or maybe grabbing some props to place underneath the shoulder and the head. Now your left hand can stay in place where it's at, or maybe crawl that left hand up toward the top edge of your mat. Maybe you reach that left arm high behind you, or take a half bind by wrapping your left arm around your low back. Just do something intentional with that left arm or that left hand. And breathing a little bit more into that right shoulder and right side. Thread the needle. And when you're ready to switch sides, we're bringing that left hand back by the face. We're pushing your way on up and reaching the right hand high. And then switching sides, the right hand comes down to the floor. Inhaling to open that left arm way up high. Take your time and then use an exhale to thread the needle. Left arm this time sweeping down and through. Left shoulder inside of the head meeting the floor or props. Find somewhere for that right hand, right arm to be. And once you're there, finding your awareness around that left side, that left shoulder. Seeing if your breath can add a little extra special sauce to the pose. And then when you're ready, pressing that or placing that right hand next to your face and pressing your way back up, reaching the left arm high, and then bring that left hand down to the floor. Come on up to tabletop position. Let's straighten that right leg out behind you and just bring your toes down to the floor. So right leg straight, toes on the floor, and just kind of press back into that right heel so you get a little calf stretch here through that right calf. And I think it feels kind of nice to come forward slightly and then reach that right heel back again, just kind of coming in and out of the stretch. And then switching whenever you want. That left leg then, straightening, toes on the floor, finding a little bit of a calf stretch. Okay. Feels extra nice today, I think. All right, when you're ready, let's move along to our first downward dog. Let's grab those blocks if you have them handy. We'll bring them up to the top of the mat. but blocks or not. We'll still bring the hands out in front of us, really gripping into the hands, and then curling your toes under and picking up the knees. Reach that tailbone high. Press your hands down into the blocks or the floor so you're reaching through your shoulders. And if you like, starting to pedal your legs out, bending and straightening opposite knees. Making sure you're still committed to a nice flowing breath. At some point, just settling the feet down. Feeling about one more breath here in downward dog. And then bend both knees, look up to your hands, and then exhale as you walk your feet to the top of your mat for ragdoll at the top. Letting your upper body be nice and loose here, just like a ragdoll. Maybe nodding your head yes or no a couple times. Maybe swaying or just holding still as you feel a little bit of space being created there through the back. Maybe you notice quite a stretch through the back of the legs. What else are you noticing? If you do want more of a lower back stretch, you can bend deeper into your knees and just kind of let your body kind of be stretched with that motion. Just about one more breath in and one more breath out. Start to bend your knees a little bit more and then walk your hands up your legs as you come up to stand. Take your time. And then at the top, we'll just get a nice little shake and bounce through the body going. So in no particular order, just start to find some shaking movements. Maybe the arms want to start today. Maybe those heels want to lift and lower. Finding that nice kind of trampoline-like bounce through the body. There's no right or wrong way to do this as long as you're not injuring yourself or anyone else. So just getting a nice shake through the body gives our circulation a nice boost. It's also good for, circulating fresh energy, letting go of any kind of stagnant energy. Sometimes it can be so nice if you're trying to get rid of some anger or exude is the word, exude some of that emotion, whatever you're feeling. A good shake can do you good. All right. Coming on up to the top of your mat, take a look down at your feet. Pick up all of your toes, spread them out, just hold them there for a second, and then set them down. Make sure that your feet are at a nice comfortable distance from each other. And then we'll flip the palms to face the front of your space. So you feel a little bit of opening through your chest and a little bit of engagement between your shoulder blades. This is just our mountain pose, Tadasana, it's called. Just like we did before in that easy seated position, lengthen upwards through the crown of your head and find that very subtle tuck of your chin. So you're not looking down, but you're just finding and creating a little more length in the back of your neck. All right. With an inhale, reach both arms high, option to look up. Interlace your fingers at the top, and with your exhale, press your palms up toward the sky. Either stay just upright breathing here, or maybe experiment with a little back bend, reaching those arms a little bit farther back. Just make sure your glutes are engaged in your back bend. With your inhale, coming back up to center, and exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Arms reaching wide, hinging at your hips, and then releasing your hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Again, that half tuck of the chin here. Exhale, hands come down to the floor or blocks. Let's step the right foot back first, and then the left to our high plank. Let's take 2 breaths here. Inhale, push the floor away. Exhale, One more breath in, nice and strong today. And exhale to lower your knees, move those blocks to the side if you're using them, and then slowly lower your chest to the floor. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down into the mat. So much you feel those glutes working again, those knees are popping up a little bit. 3 rounds of baby cobra. With your inhale, rising up, using the strength of your core and muscles around your spine. Option to stay lifted for all 3 breaths, or exhale and lower down. Inhale, rising up, or maybe you're still there. And exhaling to lower. One more breath here. Let's inhale to rise. Stay lifted for your exhale. With your inhale, press your way up to tabletop. And exhale to child's pose. And maybe tenting your fingertips up today. Maybe reaching a little bit more through the arms so you can feel a little more of a reach and a stretch through the back. One more breath in. One more breath out. With your inhale, rising back up to your tabletop. Maybe grabbing those blocks if you want to use them here. And then finding your way back to downward dog. And we're here for 3 breaths. We're inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. One more breath in. One more breath out. With your inhale, option to lift that right foot high behind you. With your exhale, bend that right knee, pull it in towards your chest, step just the right foot forward. So wherever you are, however that went, just get that right foot to the top of your mat. We're going to find arrow pose. If you don't remember what that is, we basically lift the arms back. That's pretty much it. The arms are just lifting back behind us. This is arrow pose. Take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, we're going to find our way up to airplane pose. So maybe kind of launching off of that left foot a little bit. Maybe your left toes stay on the floor behind you. Either way, finding your way up to your version of airplane. Hug those shoulder blades together behind you. It's okay to hold on to a wall or a chair if you want or need. And then eventually, using an inhale to rise up. See if you can take that left knee up with you to one-legged mountain pose. And then exhale, step that left foot down to the floor. Take a moment here, maybe finding a little bit of a shake, just gathering yourself here at the center. And then bringing your hands together at heart center. Let's take a clearing breath here, inhaling through your nose. Big sigh to let it go. Spending a couple more moments here, just feeling your heart beating through the thumbs, pressing into the chest. Remembering your intention if you set one today. And we'll repeat this little flow on the other side, starting here with another clearing breath. So in through the nose, sigh to release. With your inhale, sweep those arms around and up, joining the fingers, interlacing the fingers at the top, and then exhaling as you press the palms up toward the sky. Keep breathing here. Option to just keep stretching. Maybe you find a little bit of a side bend or a back bend. Just kind of freestyling at the top here with those palms pressing up toward the sky. And then using an inhale to come back to the center. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower those hands down to the floor or blocks. We're stepping that left foot back first and then your right foot. High plank again, 2 breaths. Inhale, reach through those shoulders, pressing down, and exhale. 1 more breath in. And exhale, lower those knees, move those blocks to the side, and then lower your chest down to the floor. This time I'll cue up baby cobra, but we're gonna stay lifted for all 3 breaths. You always have the option to come down or do the breathing variation if you prefer. I'm just gonna cue 3 breaths lifted. So pressing the top of your feet down a lot. A little bit of space between your feet, maybe like a foot of space or so. With your inhale, rising up to your baby cobra. Staying here for the exhale. Inhale here, keep pressing the tops of your feet down. And exhale. Last breath in, option to hover the hands up off of the floor. And exhale, lower down. Take a breath, resting, inhale. And exhale. Just a quick rest. Inhale, come on up to tabletop. And exhale, finding child's pose. Any variations are always welcome. I always kind of like to join my palms and then bend the elbows so that the hands are right behind my neck. Maybe the thumbs touching the base of your neck. Maybe tenting your fingertips up toward the top of your mat. So many ways to make this your own. 1 more big breath in and out. And then with an inhale, rising up, tabletop, grabbing those blocks again if you want to use them, and then exhaling to downward dog. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, soft face and jaw, and exhale. Last breath in. And breath out. Inhale to lift those left toes up off of the floor behind you, 3-legged down dog. And exhale, bend that knee, bring your left knee in toward your chest, and then step just the left foot forward. Just breathe like normal here as you get that left foot toward the top of your mat. Arrow poses next, so just simply reaching those arms up behind you. Head is still reaching forward. When you're ready, transition to your airplane pose, maybe by bending that right knee and kind of launching up off of your right foot. Your toes can always stay down on the floor here, or maybe grabbing onto a wall or a chair in front of you. That can be really, really nice. Feels super good to have extra support whenever you want it. Taking your time and eventually using an inhale to stand on up. Seeing if you can bring that right knee up with you to 1-legged mountain. And then exhale, step your right foot down to the ground. Inhale, sweep the arms around and up, joining palms at the top. Exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Maybe closing your eyes as you spend a little time cultivating this sense of centeredness, balance, presence. Calling to mind your intention if you had one. And then let's take a clearing breath, inhaling through your nose and sigh through your mouth. Go ahead and blink your eyes open and lower your hands down. We'll come into a little yogi squat. So if you know your favorite variation, you can get right into it. If you know you're going to want a little bit of support underneath your seat, maybe bringing your blocks kind of where you might land. Feet go out a little bit wider, toes facing out, heels facing in. And you can always stay up here in like a little upright squat here with your hands on your knees and kind of just rock a little bit side to side or take a little twist with the shoulders here. No need to go any farther if this feels like enough today. If you do want to go farther, maybe coming on down to your squat. Landing on those blocks if they're there. Oh, it feels so nice to be supported today. Pressing your elbows in the inside of your knees and finding a drishti, some unmoving spot in front of you. If you ever feel like it's too much, just come right down to a seat right away. Let's take 3 more breaths. And just about 1 more breath. You can always stay longer if you want. Otherwise, let's come down to a seat, moving those blocks aside, straightening out your legs. Give the legs a little bit of a tap and a wiggle as we come out of that nice deep squat position. And we'll lower down to your back. We'll do it kind of through a makeshift boat pose today. So we're gonna bend the knees and bring your feet down to the ground. You can either keep your feet down here or maybe lift them in just a moment. So let's just lean back slightly. This is kind of a boat pose. Boat pose normally has the feet lifted here. Option to do that if you want to. See if you can still breathe here. And then just slowly lower your way down to your back. You choose what slow means today. Maybe you find a little bit of a wobble. Don't avoid that wobble. It's okay. It just means you're strengthening. I always used to feel so embarrassed to like wobble, but now I'm like going for that. And then eventually finding the floor. And just let your body welcome and greet the floor with a breath in and out. You might enter into your final rest right now, or join me in just a couple more little twists and grounding movements here to cool down. If you are joining me, let's bend the knees and stand the feet up. And then press your right foot down into the mat while you start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that left leg up. Go ahead and bend your left knee, bringing your left ankle to that figure 4 position just behind the right knee. So the legs are in that figure 4 position. You might stay right here if that feels good, or take your variations if you know them. Maybe pressing your left hand into your left knee a little bit, opening that left hip a little bit more. Maybe reaching to interlace your fingers behind that right thigh, just so long as your shoulders and your head can still stay down on the ground. And we just let this one unfold for a few breaths. You could get a little bit of movement in if you want, circling your ankle or ankles. If your right foot is lifted, maybe you straighten and bend into that right knee a couple times. Maybe you find another way to find a little movement, maybe rocking. Maybe you just look in all directions with your eyes, or turn your head side to side. There's so many things to try. Two more breaths. One more breath here. And if that right foot was lifted, we're bringing that right foot back down. Let's turn this into a little twist here. So arms go out wide. Let's pick up the pelvis and then scoot a little bit over toward that left edge of your mat. And then allow your knees to start twisting over to the right. And if this feels like too much, you can always uncross your knees and just stack your left leg on top of your right. If you'd like to, maybe turning your head in the opposite direction of your twist, so gazing toward the left. Check in with your shoulders, check in with any other areas that might be a little bit tense. And softening here to a point of balance. Of course, there might be a little bit of engagement needed. Let's just go ahead and work at discerning the right amount of effort and ease here. And when it feels like the right time, go ahead and start thinking about switching sides, bringing your gaze back to center, bringing those knees back up. Scoot back to the middle of your mat, and then lift and straighten or almost straighten that left leg again for a moment. And then bend the left knee and bring that foot to the ground. Taking a moment between sides and then pressing your left foot down a lot as you start to lift and straighten or almost straighten the right leg. And then bend your right knee to that figure four position with your right ankle just behind that left knee or on top of the thigh. And just see, is this feeling like a good variation? You can always choose any of those other variations, maybe pressing your right hand into your right knee. Maybe reaching to interlace the fingers behind that left thigh. And if you want to explore movement, go right ahead. Circling of the ankles, bending and straightening of that left knee if it's lifted. And just taking a few breaths as this pose continues to unfold for you. One of my friends was having a lot of low back pain, and turned out he just had really tight piriformis on both sides. Actually, there's one through each glute, and this pose, figure four, was like the number one thing that their physical therapist recommended that they do, and it like cured him. So just noticing here how it feels for you. And then if that left foot was lifted, go ahead and lower it down. Moving into a twist, let's scoot the pelvis over toward that right edge of the mat. And then allowing your knees to start twisting over toward the left. You can always uncross the legs if you'd like. Or maybe grabbing some props to put underneath your knees. Or that foot. Option to turn and gaze toward the right side, the opposite of your twist of the knees. And then again, taking a couple moments here to notice, are there areas of over-efforting? Is there anywhere you could bring a little more ease or kindness in, either with props or just simply choosing to soften? Two more breaths here. One more breath. And start to think about coming back up to center, turning your gaze back up, scooting the pelvis to the center, and then straightening or almost straightening that right leg, giving it a little kick or a shake. And then setting the right foot down on the ground. I just like to do that windshield wiper motion again here if you want. So just letting your knees kind of sway side to side, evening things out a little bit more. And then if there are any last movements, poses, or stretches that your body's asking you for or needing, now is the time to move into those now. And then eventually finding your way to your choice of final rest. So it could be just like how you started, either in Shavasana or maybe constructive rest pose. Maybe you have a bunch of extra props and you want to get yourself extra cozy in some kind of restorative position. Maybe bringing a pillow under your knees or a blanket up over top of you. Just taking all the time you need here to settle in. And if it feels right, letting your eyelids close. Checking in with your shoulders, maybe tucking your shoulder blades in a little bit so they can get even more relaxed. Checking in with your right arm, all of the fingers of your right hand. Checking in with your left arm, each and every finger on your left hand. Feeling the point of contact between the back of your head and the floor or props. Feeling the lift of the neck, the place where the shoulders touch the floor or props. If you can become aware of the curve of your spine, maybe parts of your spine could possibly be lifted up off of the mat a little bit. And then noticing again where the pelvis is meeting the floor, maybe those glutes on the floor. If your knees are bent, maybe you feel the sacrum kind of grounding down. And becoming aware of your right leg. All of the toes of your right foot. Your left leg. And all of the toes of your left foot. Both legs together. Both arms together. Whole back side of your body. The whole top side of your body. The inside of your body. See if you can notice or sense the air just outside of your skin. Some may call this area outside of your body your aura. See if you can sense into that at all. You feel that your energy expands past your physical body. And as if you're in this nice little auric bubble, if it feels right, maybe choosing a color or a scent of your choice and just imagining as if this color could fill your aura or this calming scent just kind of surrounding you, helping you to restore your energy, helping to create a nice kind of layer of protection for your own energy here. Just breathing as you imagine this color or scent surrounding you. maybe there's a couple colors, or maybe it changes. Just go ahead and keep going with it. Whatever happens. Just like you're in this nice little colorful cocoon, continue your rest and restoration. Smooth out your face, soften your jaw. And if you would like to stay here and continue resting, you are more than welcome to stay. Just ignore the rest of this class and closing. Maybe taking about one more breath if you're ready to start moving along. And then begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Reawakening your physical body with a little bit of intuitive movement here. Maybe reaching up into a long body stretch, or maybe opening and closing your jaw, swallowing, or yawning. And then eventually choosing a side and rolling over into the fetal position. Knees tucked in a little bit. Maybe that bottom arm is your pillow now. Take a full round of breath. And then when you're ready, using the help of your arms and hands, press your way up to a comfortable seat, maybe keeping your eyes closed if you like. Let's join hands in front of heart center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Peace in our actions, peace in our words, peace in our thoughts. Together bringing thumbs up to third eye center. And then a little gesture of gratitude for yourself, for each other, for this ancient Indian practice that made its way all the way here to us. Let's take a little bow forward together now. Peace.